Have you ever found yourself stuck on a business card, a logo design, or a poster or flyer? And when stuck, I mean you don't know how to actually design this thing. You're sort of, you know what you can do, but you don't know how to do it. You don't know how to compose the piece of work that you've got waiting for you in front of you. There is some good news for you. You are not alone. I think many of us creative people are like this. We sort of don't know what to do at certain points in time, and that is completely natural and normal. It's just our brain. We can't focus on things for a long period of time, especially if we're creative. But when we're in this creation process, whether it's a business card or a logo or whatever, what are you doing first? Are you designing in Illustrator, or are you on paper actually planning out what you're going to do? In this video, I'm going to tell you why it is important to always start on paper, whether you're a logo designer, a business card designer, or just a graphic designer in general. So as I've just said, sometimes we get into these situations where we're in Illustrator and we've been commissioned to design, let's say a business card, but we don't know how to compose it. Where do we put all the information? Yes, we can use grids and different grid systems, but the client is wanting something new and refreshing. What do we do? Now, the first problem that we have here is that you're probably sat at your computer when doing this. You're probably within Photoshop or Illustrator and you're sort of raring to go. You want to get it done and you want to just have this out in your portfolio, but you don't know where to start. The problem is because you're on your computer. Paper is where it's at. And when I say paper, I mean paper and pencil. That's it. When we use paper and pencil, we're actually just limiting what tools we have in our disposal, which in theory will make us focus harder on what we're doing. We won't be distracted by different tools we could use within Illustrator, Photoshop, or a computer program. When I'm designing a logo, the first thing that I do and a lot of other designers do is they start on paper. They start sketching out, they start doing a composition, and there is a reason behind this. It's not because every logo designer can draw, even though you should be able to draw basic shapes. It's because we have such freedom with the pencil. We're actually just communicating our thought process on paper. I'm not very good at compositions, and by compositions I mean the structure in which the typographic layers are brought together. So what I use is paper and pencil, and I don't sketch out the whole piece of work there. What I start to do is I use one piece of paper to really just sketch out the basics and the shapes of the letters that I'm using, just to see if it all fits together. Now, a lot of you guys will be saying, yes, I can do this on the computer, what's the problem? I can do this on Illustrator, I can use boxes, I've got loads more tools at my disposal. That is the problem. You've got too many tools in your disposal. You're going to get distracted. You're going to be putting out things that you're not meaning to do. When we start on paper, what we're actually doing is we're whittling down what we know is right and what is wrong. And if you're a designer, you'll know where I'm coming from with this. You've thought of this amazing concept in your brain and you go straight to Illustrator and you start designing it. An hour into the design, when you're nearly finished with the overall look of it, you realize that the concept isn't working as well as you thought. Now, is that just down to the bad concept, or is that down to bad planning? It is down totally to bad planning. If you were to instead go onto paper and quickly sketch out that concept, even though it would be so bad no one would understand what you just sketched out, it somehow helps our brain see tangibly what we're trying to communicate, and we can make minor changes or big changes, or we can even improve upon that actual concept or composition. Every time I create a composition or I have one in my head, I know definitely that I need to go to paper to see whether it works, because my mind will play tricks on me. So I'll go to paper, I'll start sketching out my concept or my composition, and if it works, great, I'm going to try and improve on that for a few minutes. If not, I'm going to just go ahead and make another composition and keep drawing things out, keeping my mind focused. So if your question is what's the point in starting in paper when we've got Illustrator, it's because paper actually can help us. We're not getting distracted. You've got two tools, you've got pencil and you've got paper, and when you use those two tools, you can go anywhere. You can draw anything and you can do anything you like on that piece of paper. There is more freedom in drawing when using pencil and paper. In Illustrator, we can get sidetracked on so many different things and it won't give us a true visualization of what's in our brain. Over the past couple of years, I've been speaking to a lot of new and upcoming logo designers and graphic designers, especially young ones, and I always ask them about their current process. If I ever get the chance to chat with you, I'll probably ask you about your process. And normally it will go off like this. I start with Adobe Illustrator. Then they tell me that they sometimes get very disappointed with the work because they have this image in their mind of what it should be, but it's not on Illustrator. And that is simply because you haven't gone through the right process to communicate your idea in your brain to paper first, then Illustrator. So the main point of this is to not use Adobe Illustrator or any editing software until you actually have a concept that you can work with confidently. This is what I like to call having vision of the end product. If you do not have vision of the end product and you're going willy-nilly into Illustrator, you're not going to design your best. You want to make sure that everything that you design is the best it can be at that time. You want it to be better than the last thing you made. And you get this through planning on paper, your concepts and composition. The last thing I want to talk about is that it's not about the software. Ooh, people get annoyed at this. You know me, I love Adobe Illustrator. It is my friend. A lot of people ask me how to use the program. You probably subscribe to me because of the program. But I reckon the more you got into graphic design and the more you got into logo design, the more you realize that it wasn't about the software at all. To qualify as a logo designer isn't to know Illustrator. You can know Illustrator but not know how to actually design something. Designing comes from knowing how to solve a problem. Basically, logo designing is minimally about the software. It's not really got anything to do with it. Yes, the software helps us, but the actual ideas of the logos and the practicalities of it and the functionality of the logo comes from our brain. Logo designers and graphic designers are seen as these people that just create things that look nice and that help different companies out. And that is sort of true, but in another way, we are problem solvers. We solve problems for companies. As a logo designer, the problem that I solve is the fact that a company hasn't got an identity, it doesn't have a face, and it's got nothing to stand out in the market. I come as a problem solver to actually bring a face to that company that helps them stand out. When you start to see logo design more like this, I think the more you'll realize that it's not really about the software. The software really helps, but it's more to do with the brain and the way that we function as humans. I hope this video helped some of you guys out. It's a video I've wanted to do for quite a while now because I get a lot of questions regarding the actual process of logo design. I did say in my video about the logo design process that I start on paper, so there you go, I hope it helped. In celebration of my new font release coming out later this year, as well as my course, I am actually adding some value to my old fonts which you can buy. So I've got a font called Woodland that came out last year, and it's a nice font. It's a sans serif font, and it's the one that I use on my channel. If you go ahead and buy that, you get a framed version of this poster for completely free sent to you. So you might want to get this. There's only 20 of these available right now, so be quick, go and get them. After 20's up, you can still buy the font, but you don't get this nice poster for free with it. Let me know down in the comment section below what your logo design process is and any other process that you have. I want to know. Go ahead and press that subscribe button, like it, and all that sort of stuff, and I'll catch you next week. Thank you so much for watching. See you later.